For the uninitiated, iceberg charts are mapped from most well-known things of a topic to least known things of a topic. Today we'll be taking a dive into the Do Not Research Iceberg. There are some topics in this chart that we won't be taking a look into, simply because I thought it was boring or it just didn't fascinate me. Other topics get pretty dark and may make some viewers uncomfortable, but you literally clicked on a video titled Do Not Research, and we're gonna do some research. There are no trigger warnings, so viewer discretion is advised, but I did order each tier from least disturbing to most disturbing, so you can stop whenever you like. This one just makes total sense. Just don't research spoilers. What is wrong with you? This video is actually really cool, and I would actually highly recommend you guys research this one. I had no idea this is how they made the Velociraptor sound, and the sound design is really phenomenal. This is a very informative video about how hot dogs are made, and it made me really hungry. The Splinter is an episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob gets a splinter and it keeps getting worse and worse. I remember watching this one and being disgusted when I was younger. Peter Griffin Saves a Whale is a video of Peter Griffin attempting to save a whale with a tractor, but it goes horribly wrong. And it's super violent, but like a cartoon violent, so it's really not that bad. I'm not here to shame, but I just don't understand this one, okay? Vor is the or fantasy about being eaten alive or eating someone who is alive. And I just don't understand it. I'm sorry. Lotus breast is supposed to trigger your trypophobia, which is the fear or disgust of holes, which I don't think I personally have, but every time I do look at holes like these, it just makes the left side of my brain tingle. I don't know if that's normal. Is that normal? Is that weird? Oh, well, there we go. Trypophobia, the fear of small holes or disgust of small holes. There's nothing more to say. Dude, this, oh my god, I f***ing hate this. This is my live reaction. I'm looking at this on Google, and I hate this. This is the worst thing ever. I hate spiders. I literally had to put my legs up on my chair because of this. Dude, I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh at this. It's disgusting. I know it's a girl in the bathtub, diarrhea duking on herself, but the funny part is just like imagining that this was a total accident. Like she was just taking a shower and she slipped and she just shut herself. This is just a picture of a terrible looking, and it's not a real STD. It's just a terrible picture. It's a picture of a Alright, I've actually seen this movie, and it's not that crazy. It's a fictional film. It really just has a shocking ending, and it's really not worth watching the whole movie just to get it. So if you're gonna research this, just research the movie ending. Don't actually watch the movie because you're just wasting your time. Okay, we've all seen this video, right? I don't have to say anything else. It's really just an artsy film with very artsy music and two girls just having fun. No, but really it's just two girls eating out of a cup, so just please don't watch it. Okay, I've actually heard of this one when I was like 12, but I never seen it until literally right now. It's just a video of a guy shoving a jar that's made of glass up his and then it breaks and hijinks ensues. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this one. Some people believe that birds aren't real. They believe birds are camera drones sent by the government to keep eyes on the populace. Except not really, because this was started as a troll.
That they most commonly disguise their stationary surveillance units as nests. I had to search everywhere. You'd be surprised where I found them in the past.
And a lot of trolls love this movement.
Watching codes both ways!
This is a satirical campaign to make the point that what? You're looking at me like, no, it's not satire. I really do believe this.
Honestly, it's kind of offensive.
It's It's a great movement. I love it. I'm all for it, actually. But I swear, I'm sure there's a few people in there that actually believe birds don't exist. I literally just clicked on this and it took me like 3 seconds to realize what this was. This is gonna jump scare me. Alright, this is post me trying it out, and it's just if you shake your mouse really hard, the lights flash, and if you have epilepsy, you're gonna die. This was a British theme park back in the 90s starring Mr. Blobby, who had a killer theme. This park is now abandoned and looks extremely creepy, but the story behind this is really cool. You should go check out Expedition Theme Park's video about it. I've actually seen these videos on Instagram and they're kind of just gross. I don't really know what to say, but I bet they taste amazing. This ancient creature hasn't changed in 300 million years. It has a skull but no spine. Its mouth looks like this. I don't know. It's kind of cute. Kirek is an Adobe After Effects animator whose videos are just really weird, strange, absurdist humor, some Adult Swim type of vibe in there, body horror. It's just weird. I love it. Naegleria fowleri is a brain-eating amoeba that enters through the nose and eats the brain. They're found in warm places throughout the world and have no proper treatment. The chances of contracting this amoeba are low, but not zero. This is a timeline of events from right now to the far future, like literally the end of the universe, mostly revolving around us and Earth as a whole. There's also a Google Sheets page about this that goes into way more detail. Holy shit. I saw the picture. Oh my god. Oh my god. Also known as the zombie fungus, cordyceps infect their hosts and can even control their movements. The fungus sends a fruiting body out through the now dead insect where it can spread spores infecting new hosts. You ever play The Last of Us? There you go. This one's a doozy. I think I've heard of this one a long time ago, I just never knew it was a story. It's a story about a girl who goes to a dumpster and she puts maggots and rotting meat inside her. And she just details on how she loves it and the nasty stuff that she does the next few days. And I don't know if it's real. I hope it's not. But I mean, if you want to read it, it's out there. I don't know what to say about this one. Roku's Basilisk is an information hazard and I will not be talking about it. I've known about it for like a month now and I love it. I love it. But honestly, if you know, you know. And it's better that you don't know. You shouldn't research this. You really should not, especially if you take it seriously. You're pretty much just f***ing yourself over. Just don't research this. Or do. r/5050 is a flip of the coin every time you click on an image. Each post will have two titles, one safe for work and one not safe for work. Clicking on the blurry image is the only way to find out which of the titles best represents the picture. Many of the videos and images I've seen on this subreddit have to do with death of humans or animals. That's the worst I've seen. Most of it is just gross out pictures in general. So, will you flip the coin? This is kind of like furries, but instead of them being animals, it's airplanes. Thanks to silicone injections, this guy's now looks like this. It roughly weighs 9.5 pounds. I guess snails have teeth and under a microscope they look kind of disturbing, but honestly anything under a microscope looks creepy.
Hey, welcome back to Cake Farts.
This is a video of a girl sitting on a cake and then she farts. I'm pretty sure the Game Grumps put this in one of their videos, at least as a reference.
Know what I like the most? Cake farts.
You know what I like the most? Cake farts.
Oh my god. So I actually encountered this when I played Persona 5 because that was my first Persona game, and it's just kind of just like come on, dude. Come on. Just, come on. Hey, I'm not gonna judge what you're into, but it's just not for me. Hey, I'm not gonna judge what you're into, but it's just not for me. I'm not gonna judge what you're into. This is similar to vor, except instead of being eaten, you like the thought of going into a woman's and being inside the womb and then later being birthed back out. And that's it. Oculolinctus is the where people are by licking their partner's eyeballs or having their own eyeballs licked by their partner. No. So apparently the chainsaw was invented to help during childbirth. If the baby was too big or got stuck or was coming out feet first, they would use the chainsaw to cut through the woman's cartilage and ligaments to get the baby out easier. This is a serious condition where a loss of blood supply causes body tissue to die. Hybridonia is a condition that causes too many teeth to grow in your mouth. This is really just fear-mongering. I mean, there's like news articles every other month that just say, hey, supervolcano might explode in 1,000 years or in 100 years and statistics, and it's not as scary as they make it seem. It's just relax. Saya no Uta, or Song of Saya, is on my Steam list, and it's a visual novel, it's a game. I don't know anything about it, so I don't want to spoil myself, so I'm not going to look this one up, but I heard it's really good. I don't know exactly what it's about or how disturbing it is, but I'm going to get to it when I get to it. Maui, in Maori mythology, turned into a worm so that he could climb into the of the goddess of night in order to grant immortality to humanity. He was killed from her teeth. I'm going to simplify this in the best way I can and describe it in the way I understand it. Let's say we have this atom here. Over time, it's going to decay. So in a sense, it can only be one of two states, dead or alive. So now we're going to cover this up and wait 5 seconds and see if the atom decays. Looks like it did. Now we know that it takes an atom 5 seconds of being unsupervised to decay. So now let's wait 3 seconds before observing if the atom decayed, but let's do it 3 times. Now you can see, because we continuously observed the atom, it didn't decay. This is the quantum Zeno effect. By repeatedly observing an atom, it will never decay. This isn't just a theory either. This has been proven many times. Is this just nature for the atom? Or is this phenomena caused by humans? This has huge implications of consciousness and observation. These are kind of like popping pimples, except they go inside the pimple and they take out a maggot. It's disgusting. It might trigger some of your trypophobia. They're gross. I don't know. I think some people find these videos satisfying. I don't research this stuff on purpose. So yeah. Inland Empire is a David Lynch movie that has this weird looking clown face. This chair was used for torture, and people were made to sit on this thing, and most people that were tortured this way died from infection or just from the sheer pain. And look, I mean, just look how it's shaped. I mean, come on, sign me up. This is a painting by Francisco Goya that depicts the Greek myth of Titan Cronus, who feared being overthrown by his children, so he ate each one of them upon their birth. On June 9, 1979, a fire broke out on a dark ride in Luna Park, Australia. The first iteration of this ride was built in the 1930s. These types of rides were called pretzel rides due to the tight twists and turns the ride would take within the building. In the following years, the ride would receive a horror-themed reskin called the Ghost Ride. However, the confusing track layout never changed. When the fire in 1979 broke out, 7 people lost their lives. The operators of the ride found it a better option to keep the ride moving instead of trying to lead people out through the confusing track. Jenny Godson lost her 2 sons and husband in the fire. Later, after the tragedy, she looked through the pictures during their day at Luna Park, and she found this photo, known as the Luna Park Demon. Rumors say, after the picture was taken, this mascot was never seen again. It was hard to find anything on this, but I'm pretty sure this is the One Lunatic, One Icepick video. In 2012, Luca Magnotta, the person behind the Cat in the Don't F with Cats documentary, the 33-year-old computer engineer student from China on video. Luca was eventually captured and sent to life in prison. If you want to know more about this topic, Scare Theater has a really good video on it. I recommend watching that. Pro wrestler Chris Benoit killed his wife and his 7-year-old son before himself. There's much more to this story that we won't go into, like Benoit's chronic traumatic encephalopathy and steroid abuse that led this incident to garner attention from the federal government on steroid abuse in pro wrestling. In 1947, the corpse of a 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was found a few feet from the sidewalk. The person who found the body thought it was a mannequin at first glance. The case remains unsolved to this day. On November 4th, 2014, David Kalick posted pictures of a body on 4chan. He girlfriend with his bare hands, and then a shoelace simply because he was drunk and pissed off. As her son came home from school, he found his mother. The boy called his dad over, and the dad called the police. David was arrested and sentenced to 84 years in prison. In the evening of July 30th, 2008, on a Greyhound bus, Vincent Lee Tin McLean to subsequently and him. Lee was found not criminally responsible and received mental health treatment. He said he heard the voice of God tell him to eliminate the force of evil by attacking McLean in his sleep. On February 10th, 2017, Lee was given an absolute discharge and found not a significant threat to society. Judith Barzey, most known for being the voice of Ducky in 1988's The Land Before Time, was in her sleep by her father, along with her mother, before turning the. Judith was only 10 years old when this tragic event happened. On her gravestone, you can see "Yup, yup, yup," Ducky's catchphrase in the movie.
Mine is Ducky. Yep, that is what it is. Yep, yep, yep.
This was known to be her favorite role. These 6-digit codes became popular during the latter half of 2020. The way they work is you go to this website and input the 6-digit code at the end and it will present you with hentai. There's a colony of sloths that eat poo. This baffled scientists, as sloths are known to have a plant-based diet. Theory suggests that these sloths were just too hungry and found nutrients in poo, and now they just eat poo. Beksinski is a Polish artist that specializes in the field of dystopian surrealism. Blooper Team's The Medium was inspired by his artwork. It looks kind of like a hand. These endoparasites infect insects when they're larvae in water. They remain inside the insect for about 2 to 8 months until they're fully grown. After, they cause their host to jump into water, effectively making them commit. Here, the horsehair worms can come out of the host fully grown. They can grow from 6 inches to 6.5 feet in length. And that's life. But don't worry, they're harmless to humans, livestock, and pets. Also, this has nothing to do with horses. This man was permanently hungry and would literally eat anything and everything. Literally anything. Stones, live animals, snake meat. It got to the point where he wanted to be cured so bad that he was found drinking discarded from hospital patients and eating from the morgue. One time a baby went missing and people pointed the finger at Terrare. After his death, the autopsy found his stomach filled his entire abdomen. Modern medicine suggests that this was a case of hyperthyroidism. It's literally a video of a dolphin using a headless fish as a. These parasites can swim up your and eat you from the inside. Bobbit worms are real-life sarlacc pits located in our ocean floors. On the surface, they don't look too bad, but these abominations can grow to twice the length of a person. They don't have eyes or a brain, and they only attack if they're touched or if shadows linger. Once it has you, you're pretty much screwed. This terrifying looking spider is known as a trapdoor spider, and it disguises itself by hiding in wall crevices. Pre-order today! This is a condition that causes your skin to get really dry, making you look like you have fish scale skin. Treatment can help, but it's uncurable. This is a very cute video by Opti Animation on YouTube. It starts off with a dancing flower which causes the iconic smiling balls to come out of hiding and dance with the music. Soon the smiling balls and flowers are all dancing in beat with the melody and this is a story of a normal bloke going to visit his girlfriend in college. They start to get down and dirty and he goes down on her. Everything's normal so far, but he dislikes the taste of her, so he pops a Jolly Rancher into his mouth and continues. He accidentally pushes the Jolly Rancher in her, so he retrieves it with his finger, putting it back in his mouth. Except, it wasn't a Jolly Rancher. It was a nodule of gonorrhea. Not only that, the poor guy bites down on it and it pops, causing him to freak out and vomit all over. Turns out his hot goth cosplaying GF wasn't being the most faithful and contracted the disease. A troubled group of children living on the same block are haunted by a talking dog named Labby, who brings them on a surreal hell ride between different dimensions and time periods. That's taken straight from the IMDb page, and that's literally only like 10% of the movie. We actually watched this on my Discord, link below, and the movie is just disturbing scenes for the sake of disturbing scenes.
Okay, you see all that rain and the thunder out there?
Slid away.
These parasitic fleas implant an egg on you. Eventually, the eggs multiply and over time, they destroy soft tissue and the wounds are prone to infection and disease. They're from Central and South Africa and are known to be very painful. This is just gangrene, except it's located on your pee-pee. This alleged form of execution would have a person tied to a boat or two, submerging his hands and feet in water. Torturers would force feed them a mixture of honey and milk and cover them up in the substance daily. They'd be left there for days, covered in their own The liquid excrement would extract worms, bees, and insects alike, devouring the person's would come slowly and painfully. This happens when an identical twin stops developing inside the womb and causes the other dominant twin to absorb the parasitic twin. It's a rare condition, only having fewer than 200 cases worldwide. This anime film has a very disturbing atomic bomb scene that rivals the one from Terminator 2, mainly because of the atmosphere. This shocking video shows malnourished African children crying and tells the viewer to send their shoeboxes as they're running out of coffins. Madame LaLaurie was a serial killer in the 1800s who had a chamber in her New Orleans mansion. In public, LaLaurie seemed to be polite to her slaves. However, behind closed doors, she would frequently them. She once chased an 8-year-old enslaved girl off the rooftop just because she had hit a snag while brushing LaLaurie's hair. After years of torment, her Royal Street mansion caught on fire after a 70-year-old cook attempted using a stove. She later said the attempt was brought out of fear of being punished because the enslaved people taken to the attic never came back. During the fire, LaLaurie refused to open the front door to evacuate the slaves. She said that they had already been evacuated, but skeptical bystanders broke the door down and found 7 slaves. They had been in prison for months. On September 30th, 1999, while working at the Tokaimura nuclear processing plant, Hisashi and 2 others accidentally caused a nuclear reaction that emitted intense levels of gamma and neutron radiation. Hisashi took most of the blow, causing him to vomit and pass out. This was the first criticality event to happen in Japan, and Hisashi became a guinea pig. For 83 days, experts would come to his hospital room and experiment on him, prolonging his life for the sake of science. None of the chromosomes in his body were identifiable, meaning he had no blueprint from which to reproduce cells. His white blood cells became dangerously low, which meant he had no immune system. He became prone to infection, and when they would try to wash him, his blood wasn't receiving enough oxygen. So they had to insert a breathing tube into his windpipe, meaning he wouldn't be able to speak anymore. His family expressed their desire to conduct every last test for the slight possibility of saving him, and Hisashi was in no state to make commands. The family's wishes were kept. It's said that Hisashi and his family weren't truly informed about his hopeless situation, or how he received more than twice the radiation that's fatal to humans. On the 59th day, Hisashi had 3 heart attacks. Each time, a doctor resuscitated him. Finally, on day 83, Hisashi died of multi-organ failure. This one's simple. Just don't research black hairy tongue. It's kinda gross. This is what happens when you don't brush your teeth, Timmy. You get plaque, and if you don't take care of the plaque, it becomes calculus bridge. This beautiful creature uses a cockroach's body to reproduce. First, it stings the cockroach, causing it to lose its escape reflex. After some time, the jewel wasp severs the roach's antennas and lays an egg into it. The wasp hides the roach in a hole, and about a month later, a new jewel wasp spawns. It's a crazy circle of life. All I could find on this is that it hurts to get bit by one. In fact, this absolute Chad intentionally gets bit by one and takes it like a champ. They're not venomous and aren't as big as many people think. The biggest they get is 2 to 3 inches, which is average. Dolphin creepypasta is about the many different ways a human and a dolphin can It's mainly disturbing in the way it's written, like an instructional manual meant for dolphin enthusiasts. The act of blowing into a cow's to help produce milk. I literally yelled out when I saw this. It's just something I didn't know existed, and now I have to live with it, and you do too. The alleged medical practice had old men sacrifice themselves for the greater good by exclusively eating honey. Eventually, the old men would die and be sealed in a tomb filled with honey. After 100 years, their body would be brought out and sold as a cure-all medicine. People would pay top dollar for a piece of the mellified man to consume, in the hopes to be rid of any disease or ailment. Aw, this is cute, until it isn't. MTM is a production company who's had a variety of logo appearances. The cat meowing is the most basic one, but there's one where the cat screams out However, the creepiest one came out in the series finale of Saint Elsewhere, a hospital drama. Here, you can see the cat laying down, hooked up to medical equipment with a heart rate monitor beeping, signifying life. But at the very tail end of the credits, it flatlines, suggesting the cat dies. What's even more depressing is that this cat actually died shortly after the episode's airing. This is just sad. It's a short black and white silent film where they elephant by electrocuting it. The reason they decided to this poor creature is because she a drunken spectator who burnt the tip of her trunk with a lit cigar. This was done in front of an audience at Luna Park, Coney Island. This PSA shows an AIDS carrier trying to get out of bed. You can hear the pain and suffering in his voice. Literally splitting your in half. I don't know, you do you. Vi ASMR is a mukbang channel that takes it to the next level by eating cats, dogs, turtles, rabbits, and chameleons. It's not my culture, it's not my thing, but her videos are still up on YouTube. I don't know why, but it just doesn't look real to me. To be fair, I've never seen a cat or dog primed for human consumption. The thumbnails are in poor taste, showing what she's eating and then a cute animal with a red arrow pointing at it. In her most recent videos, they added this creepy filter and weird zooms. Okay, I've seen almost like 20 minutes of this trying to piece whether it's fake or real, and I really don't know. I'm literally sick to my stomach. I've never felt this way before, and I'm trying to find any shred of evidence to convince myself that this is fake. The Matt Butcher of Kingsbury Run was an unidentified serial killer who was active in Cleveland, Ohio. He was never caught. Otocephaly is a very rare and lethal head disorder that causes the ears to fuse together just below the chin. This is a rare genetic disorder that causes tissue overgrowth. It can cause overgrowth of the skin, bones, muscle, fatty tissues, blood, and lymphatic vessels. On November 25th, 1988, Miyano and Minato were wandering around Misato with the intention of robbing At 8:30 p.m., they spotted Junko Furuta riding a bike. Minato kicked Junko off the bike and fled the scene. Miyano, playing the part of a concerned classmate, offered to walk her home. However, he invited his friends over to brag about when one of them suggested they keep Junko as a prisoner. The four boys took her to a house owned by Minato's parents and told Junko that if she ever tried to escape, the Yakuza would. 2 days after her disappearance from society, her parents would file a police report. But to discourage any investigation, the kidnappers forced Junko to call her mother and tell her she ran away. Minato would pose Junko as his girlfriend around his parents, but they knew she was a prisoner. The threat of Yakuza intervention kept them from speaking out. On January 4th, 1989, after losing a game of Mahjong, Miyano vented his frustration towards Junko. Junko eventually succumbed to her wounds and died. It's thought that over 100 people knew about Junko's imprisonment, but only the four boys were charged. Miyano got 20 years in prison, but the other boys got between 5 and 9. Sylvia Lycan and her sister Jenny Lycan were left with the Banaszewskis by their parents with the promise of $20 a week for her services. The money was coming in late, so to vent her anger, Gertrude, Sylvia, and Jenny with a 1/4-inch paddle, making statements such as, "I took care of you two little for a week for nothing." This was only the first occurrence of which quickly escalated exclusively towards Sylvia. Once, during family supper, the family forced Sylvia to eat a hot dog overloaded with condiments. She threw it up and was later forced to eat her own vomit. Slowly, the Banaszewski children and local neighborhood kids began to partake in the Lycan siblings were too fearful to notify family members or adults at their school of the increasing. She was sent to live in the basement where she would sleep on the floor. Neighborhood children would occasionally be charged 5 cents to see the display of Sylvia. Sylvia tried to escape from the basement after hearing a conversation pertaining to the family's plan to abandon her to. She attempted to flee the front door, but due to her injuries and general weakness, she was easily caught. She was given toast to eat, but due to her extreme state of dehydration, she was unable to swallow. She was taken to the basement once more. That night, she attempted to alert the neighbors by screaming and hitting the walls with a shovel. The neighbors did hear the commotion, but didn't inform the police. She was crying out for help until 3 a.m. At age 16, Sylvia Lycan succumbed to her injuries. Many local people knew what was happening in that household, but only 5 were charged. On June 2001, a 6-foot-tall memorial was formally dedicated to Sylvia Lycan's life and legacy in Willard Park, Indianapolis. The Cameraman's Revenge is a very well done silent stop motion animation using insects like beetles, dragonflies, and grasshoppers, accompanied by a great musical score. Basically, this husband beetle takes the grasshopper's potential lover, and the grasshopper just happens to be a cameraman, so he uses those skills to film the beetle's infidelity, and then hijinks ensues. This one is very good. It had me laughing at the concept and the twists and turns in the film. Do yourself a favor and go watch this one. These moths are just regular moths, but when they want to reproduce, they inflate their back appendages, which causes them to look like satanic beasts. The mating practice performed by bugs has the male's sharp penetrate through the female's abdomen, breaking any protective wall, then into her bloodstream. Usually these bugs can mate normally, but traumatic insemination helps bugs produce more offspring at a faster rate. Named after the xenomorph from the Alien franchise, this pesky bee implants eggs into a caterpillar. 2 weeks later, literal chest bursters come out of the poor thing. Up to 50 eggs can hatch, and the funny part is that the caterpillar takes care of them, literally defending the cocoons day and night until it starves to death. This is one hypothesis on how the universe will inevitably die out. As the universe expands forever and matter decays over an incredibly long time, eventually nothing will be able to interact, and the universe will just be nothingness. Euphoria is a shocking and terrifying erotic visual novel, famous for depicting disgusting. You read from the perspective of Keisuke Takatao, who finds himself locked in a white closed room with 6 heroines. Keisuke is the key, and the girls are the keyholes. And in order to open a lock, he needs to perform a certain act. Withdrawing from the game results in certain death, so it's up to everyone to work together and find a way out. If you read the visual novel, you're a certified degenerate, and also there's a hentai adaptation. Also known as tooth and eye surgery, this unique surgery is used to restore vision in patients who are at the tail end of corneal blindness and can't have normal corneal transplant or other forms of surgery. It's basically a last resort to restore vision in one's eyes. Elephantitis or lymphatic filariasis is a painful disfiguring disease. It's caused by infection with parasites classified as nematodes that are transmitted through the bites of infected mosquitoes. Most cases are symptomless and rarely cause the swelling as seen on these pictures. It's treatable by medical professionals and can last for years or be lifelong. This is a Reddit story where a morbidly obese woman goes to the ER due to severe abdomen pain. Due to her massive weight, a normal ultrasound couldn't be performed, so they had to do a ultrasound. The nurses had to lift and move tons of fat to expose her, and when they did, the smell was the most horrifying the nurses have ever experienced. Her inner thighs and the opening of her were weeping with a blackish brown thick fluid. Somehow, somewhere, this woman had found a man desperate enough to her. The mass in her abdomen was a fetus. Due to her weight, she never realized she was pregnant and never realized the baby was inside her. She was taken to emergency surgery where they scraped the remnants of the. This is another Reddit medical story, where a nurse is called in for pararectal abscess, which means somewhere in the vicinity of there is a pocket of pus that needs draining. The surgeon sticks the scalpel onto the 314-pound Native American woman, just as she has a muscle spasm, and all hell breaks loose. Unbeknownst to everyone, the infection had tunneled nearly a foot into her abdomen, creating a vast cavern full of pus and that had spread outside her colon. Blackish gray-brown fluid came pouring out onto the floor. Occasionally, the patient would have muscle contractions and shoot the fluid onto the wall like a projectile. The smell was so horrendous and strong that the nurse down the 40-foot hall sat with bloodshot eyes. The patient was covered by Indian Health Services, which covers Native Americans, so they usually send the bill to them. However, IHS requires registration, which the patient never did, so there wasn't much anyone could do in terms of payment. Or post-mortem fetal extrusion occurs when the decomposing body of a pregnant woman forces gases to spontaneously deliver her child. This brain disorder leads to dementia and death. It may occur spontaneously or be inherited, or even transmitted by contact with infected tissue like during a transplant or from eating contaminated meat. The condition causes personality changes, anxiety, depression, and memory loss, with many people lapsing into a coma. The disease is extremely rare, with roughly 1.5 in a million chance of contracting it. This is a severe genetic disorder that affects the skin. Infants with this condition are born prematurely with very hard, thick skin that covers most of their body. The Soviet Union's 50th anniversary was coming up, and the government wanted something big from the space program. Leonid Brezhnev, the leader of the Soviet Union, decided that docking 2 ships in space would fill that criteria. One of the men selected for the job was Vladimir Komarov. Everyone knew this mission was unsafe and wanted to get it postponed, but everyone was terrified of telling Brezhnev. Komarov told all his friends he knew he would probably die. But he wouldn't back down because he didn't want Gagarin, his best friend, to be selected to go instead of him. Both of their families often got together, and both men hunted together on their time off. On April 24th, 1967, the space capsule Komarov was in crashed on re-entry due to parachute failure. He was the first Soviet cosmonaut to fly in outer space more than once, and the first human to die on a space mission. This photograph shows the remains of Komarov being overlooked by Soviet officials during the open casket funeral. During the Second World War, the Japanese government formed Unit 731, led by Shiro Ishii, for the purpose of conducting biological and chemical warfare research. An estimate of 3,000 people were used as guinea pigs. Some were infected with diseases and later dissected without anesthetic to see how the disease infected humans. Others were placed in pressure chambers to see how much the human body can take. Many war crimes and atrocities happened in Unit 731, but Shiro Ishii would never see any prison time. After the war, he was given full immunity by the United States if he shared all research gathered by Unit 731. There is no real scientific evidence that apes understand human language, despite what you might see on TV or in the news. Sure, they can use sign language, but they don't use it how we do. It's just shapes and sounds that they're programmed to associate with other things. It's like those videos of pets using buttons to speak that were circulating around the internet. These pets don't understand human language. They just know that certain noises represent certain rewards. For example, many believe that everything in our universe is at its ground state, or at its true vacuum. But what if our universe was formed from a false vacuum? If we were ever pushed to the true vacuum, all of physics, chemistry, and life will be thrown out the window, and everything would inevitably get deleted, and nothing will ever happen again. At least the way we know it. But don't worry, this can happen at any time and without warning. This hentai visual novel includes lots of and of course, maggots. It's said to be darker than Euphoria, but many people say under the horrific hides a beautiful romance story. This is a type of tumor that starts in your reproductive cells. It can be cancerous or non-cancerous, and can occur anywhere in the body. Most teratomas have an excellent survival rate if diagnosed early. FOP, or Stoneman syndrome, is a very rare disease that causes the body's repair mechanism to ossify tissue, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. This can happen spontaneously or when a certain body part is damaged. Even getting the common cold or receiving the flu shot can cause drastic ossification effects. Many with this disease find it hard to swallow food or have trouble breathing due to the many bones in their body. There are no treatments for this. This is a fast-acting gangrene infection that destroys the mucous membranes of the oral and facial tissue. Approximately 140,000 new cases are diagnosed annually, and the mortality rate is about 8.5%. On November 5, 1983, 4 divers and 2 diving assistants were in a diving chamber. The chamber is used to transport divers deep underwater with the aid of changing the pressure so that the human body can survive in the ocean floors. Due to human error, the chamber explosively decompressed from a pressure of 9 atmospheres to 1 atmosphere. The 4 divers died instantly and 1 assistant died shortly after. The last assistant was badly injured but survived. Cyclopia often results in. The reason a baby with cyclopia looks like this is due to the front part of the brain's failure to divide into left and right hemispheres. Often, these babies also have malformations of their chromosomes. The first part of this horrific video shows a 16-year-old boy hitting the concrete floor face first as he fails to dive off a ledge. The second part shows the still alive boy with his face split in two, right down the middle. The authenticity of the clip has been brought into question, as many believe these are 2 separate people, with many saying that the boy died instantly in the first part, and the second part was a failed attempt with a. Run the Gauntlet is a test to see if you can stomach the depths of the internet. There are 20 levels in total, with one of them being removed. Beginner tier shows videos like the woman who breaks her arm while arm wrestling, the Jackass paper cut segment, and the Russian roulette knife cup test. After that, it starts to get really intense, with videos of people and animals all the way to level 20. Even if you can't stomach these sort of videos, I'm not sure why you would want to. I guess it's just human curiosity, but there's also really nothing beneficial about reaching the end. Roch Theriot was the leader of this cult that initially appeared to be an innocent community of freethinkers. However, life inside the community was more disturbing, with being commonplace. He would force his followers to sit on lit stoves, shoot each other in the shoulder. No one was safe here. Once a girl complained of a toothache, so he ripped out her teeth with pliers. Another time, the same girl complained of stiffness in her hand, so Roch grabbed a meat cleaver and hacked her arm off. That girl later escaped the community, and that's what landed Roch in prison, where he was stabbed by his cellmate. Coldness is in My Heart is a blog that shows the journey a woman took in self. Photos not only show cuts and bruises, but half-amputated body parts. Not much is known about these photos or the woman who did this to herself, but many believe that she was under psychiatric help.